Hello, my name is Nikita Smart, and today I would like to talk to you about how my communication style has changed up until my sophomore year to my senior year in college. During my sophomore year, I attended Northwest Community College. I didn't have any friends or family there, so I was basically alone. I'm very friendly, but I only communicate based on first impressions. When I say first impressions, I mean when I meet a group of people and if their vibe just isn't right, I tend to stay to myself and not communicate with them. But I really would like to work on this by talking to people and getting to know people more. And this is why I'm about to talk to you about my communication styles throughout the year. I'm very friendly, like I said, but I just close off to people. The students there were rude to me because I was new, and sometimes being new isn't always good. Everyone from my school, they went to other schools close to home. I'm from Columbus, Mississippi also, so that's 3 hours or 4 hours away from Northwest. The students there that I graduated with, they all stayed close to home, meaning they went to either Mississippi State or schools that were an hour away. So being further from home was something very different for me. All of this started to become a conflict because of everyone treating me differently. My response during that time was the exit response. I didn't like talking because of my anger issues. Being at Northwest, I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't want to make any new friends. I am a theater major, so communicating with others is very important and it's something that I had to get used to doing. I ended up making a few friends in theater. Their names were Yasmin, Tony, and Scott. We were all very close to each other until me and Yasmin became roommates. We ended up getting a 4-bedroom apartment slash dorm because it was still on campus. The other two roommates that we had didn't know each other, and we didn't know them also. They were both nice, but I ended up connecting with one of the other roommates more. Her name was Kanisha, and we were basically just alike. While sharing a room with Yasmin, I realized that she wasn't clean in food and clothes, and even some of my personal belongings started to become missing. In chapter 9, it talks about the different responses, and my first response was the voice response because she wasn't only taking things that belonged to me. It was from the other roommates also. Whenever we confront her as a whole, she would say that she wouldn't do this, but she would once again do it again. This became a major problem because she would go on social media and talk about me and Kanisha. This started to cause drama in the house and distance everyone in the house also. This also led to fist fights, which led Yasmin to move out of the dorm. Even though we got into so many arguments with her, deep down inside I was crushed because this was my first friend that I had ever made. This started trust issues because I told her everything about me, and we went from talking every day to hating each other. In chapter 10, trust is described as having a friend or someone that cares about one another. Loyalty is something that I am big about because I love showing people that I care about how loyal I am to them. If you aren't loyal to me, I'm not going to be loyal to you. But in the end, I'm still loyal, if that makes sense. I felt like I did all of that for nothing. While Yasmin wasn't in the apartment, Kanisha and I started to grow as friends. We shared the same goals, and I even started to trust her. She supported my dreams, and I, of course, supported hers. She listened to all of my problems. One of my major problems were not being able to see my family members. Having a relationship with my family is very important because they are who I grew up with. They are the people that know everything about me and taught me everything that I need to know. I grew up with my grandmother on my mom's side and my aunt who is only 3 years older than me. My mom also stayed with my grandmother, so we were all one big family. A few things about my family that I would love to talk about is that we are all big on commitment and staying close to each other. We're all big on helping each other out when we need each other the most. Our friendship with me and Kanisha started to grow apart. Whenever I needed her, she was there. We did everything together, and I even got close with her family. This would be called the growth stage. The growth stage was great because we got along good. As time went on, I ended up leaving Northwest and I transferred my junior year to Southern Mississippi. Kanisha ended up going to Mississippi State, which was 3 hours away from me. We still text each other, but I noticed that every time Kanisha stopped answering my calls, I would be the one to check up on her first. And the connection we had slowly drifted away. While being at Southern Miss my junior year, I wasn't as sad because my best friend that I grew up with went there. We have always had a committed relationship. He got me involved on campus and made me feel comfortable. This was his senior year, so I tried to enjoy myself as much as I could. Even though I still didn't get to see my family, I tried to start calling them over the phone. Communicating over the phone is just as important over talking to someone in person. Going back to me and Kanisha, we stopped talking completely. I still cared about her, but we didn't talk anymore. This made me feel like having new friends wasn't for me. I didn't communicate with others. I only talked to who I knew wouldn't cross me over, and that was my best friend, Jamarco. I didn't want him to graduate before me because I knew I would have to start over again and meet different people. After his graduation, he moved to Houston. I was alone again, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to communicate with others. Now, this may seem like I never got my communication styles to grow, but trust me, it did. At first, they were still worse because I was very angry that I couldn't have a friend that would treat me the way my God best friend did. I was very standoffish to people and I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was being rude once again and my attitude was the same as it was when I was at Northwest. I was sad and I was always in my feelings and I closed off from anyone that tried to get close to me. I'm a female, so I wanted to have a female friend version of myself. So I started back, as I said, closing myself off and didn't talk to anyone. I stayed in a dorm and I didn't talk to one in my dorm because I was so used to talking to Jamarco when we were friends or when we were roommates here. I just didn't want to talk to one because I felt like it wouldn't be the same. When I stayed in this dorm, Hillcrest, here on Southern Miss campus, I met a girl named Imani Hightower. When we met, we immediately became attached to each other. The difference between our connection with me and Kanisha and Imani was that she helped me change as a person. She didn't just want to go out and party. She didn't just want to go out and watch other people and talk about others. She would tell me when I was doing good and when I was doing wrong. My whole attitude started to change. She made me realize that my attitude can affect others, even when I think it's not. She made me want to talk to others and get to know people. I have made so many new friends because of her. She is now my best friend. Yes, we get into arguments, but we fix them by talking it out and reaching out to each other instead of walking away. She has helped me grow as a person. My attitude has gotten way better, and I think before I say things. I have even started talking to all of my family members and not just one. The relationship I have with my family is great, but I get along with mostly everyone except for my dad. I am the only child on my mom's side, which explains why I'm so closed off and used to being by myself. I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers on my dad's side. Chapter 12 talks about communication styles with family. The relationship I have with my father may always stay the same because he never reached out to me and I really never reached out to him. We have never had a good relationship. We never talk to each other. We never try to get along or try to see what's going on with each other. I've never always been the type to not try to talk to my father. Whenever I was younger and if I tried to talk to him, he would tell me he would do one thing, but he would never do it. That would describe why I would not trust people the way that I should when I get to meet people. But the way my dad is, it will never change. I watch the way he treats my younger sister and how he treats me, which is not the same. Sometimes I blame him for the way I treat others. I also think that being the only child can explain why I didn't mind being the way that I am, as I said earlier. I still try to talk to others because I have a connection, because having a connection with someone is everything, and you need to know everything about people that you talk to. And you never know who you may need in life. There is a diversity with my dad's side of the family. My grandmother on his side doesn't talk to her brother. They're always competing against each other. They even try to get the grandchildren to compete against each other. They compete against each other by seeing who have the most money and seeing who doesn't. I think that this affects my family a lot because they often judge each other, and that tends to get us to judge each other.